In this video today, I want to share with you how an NDE, a near-death experience, changed my life. And before this near-death experience, I didn't really allow myself to follow my wishes, to follow my heart, and to trust my intuition. And maybe you notice that you have an intuitive thought, that intuition is coming to you, but because it goes against what you learned from society or your parents, you don't follow it. This is at least how I lived my life before this car accident where this near-death experience happened. First, I will tell you what happened, then what I learned from it, and then, of course, how you can apply it, what you can learn from it. What happened is that 8 years ago, I was on the way to a skiing weekend with two friends. We were traveling by car and I was the co-driver. And it was very late at night, around 10 or 11 p.m. And I was kind of almost sleeping and like resting my head on the window. And I had the feeling, the intuition, that the driver is going a little bit fast and driving a little bit rough, and that I should speak up and let him know how I feel. This was the intuition. But I felt like I don't want to be the uncool guy who complains about the driver going too fast. And because of that, I shut up and I didn't speak up. And when I look back, I can see that this almost, cost me my own life. And it was a really, really strong reminder, convincer, to speak up when I feel that I want to speak up and push through this block or ignore this block that I sometimes feel and speak my truth. And if you want, you can look on your life and reflect a little bit about how this is in your life and how you act when you feel that you want to speak up. Do you do it or do you shut up? And is this serving you or is it actually hindering? Is it blocking you? So I didn't speak up. And how the stereotype goes, about two turns before arriving at the destination, the road was iced and the driver lost control over the car and we slipped out of the road into a wooden fence, and a massive wooden pole, as you can see in this picture, hit the front shield, hit me in the face, and left the car through the back shield. So actually the whole car was kind of on this wooden pole with me in between. And this pole shattered the whole left part of my face. I had 16 fractures, basically everywhere left of my nose. And for the first seconds, I was completely knocked out, then came back to conscious. And nowadays, I can remember everything that happened. And after being knocked out and after my friends kind of took me out of the car, it took the ambulance, I think, more than 30 minutes to come, and it was freezing cold, like December in the Swiss Alps. So really bad circumstances. And I was in massive, massive pain. And I made the conscious decision to leave my body and go up into a different dimension, I would say, to a place where I don't feel the pain, to a place where everything is fine. And I could literally see the whole scenery from above. And years later, when I went back to this place where this happened, I could remember the whole area, and I could remember and I could really see, okay, this is how this place looks from above, which still blows my mind because I have never been at this particular place before. And of course, I can't really know how it looks from above, but I can. And in this moment, I also had the near-death experience and the experience of being somewhere else where everything is fine, as I said. And on the same hand, witnessing what's happening. And since then, since this first-hand experience of being in different dimensions at the same time, I know that this is possible, even so we don't utilize this very often in our lives. Yeah, at one point the ambulance came and they flew me out to the biggest hospital in the area with a helicopter. And I had a lot of moments going in and out of my body. And every time something really physical happened, like vomiting, I got back into my body and then left it again. And in this process, I had multiple out-of-body and also multiple near-death experiences, because as I remember, there were a few moments where, I almost completely died. And I can remember everything in detail up to the point where they gave me like really strong painkillers and like morphine. And then I remember how I woke up in the hospital. And long story short, I had to do one really big surgery. And nowadays, I don't have any after effects. So everything healed completely. And before I want to really focus what I learned from it, I want to share a few moments of being in the hospital. And something that was really impressive for me in a way was that I was really weak. I couldn't get up by myself. I couldn't wash myself. Even after the surgery, I had to learn how to walk again in a way. So I could walk like 1 meter, 2 meters, and that was it. So I had to build up the stamina again. And I was really helpless and really needed the help of other people, and also really, learned how to accept this, because before that I was not really good in accepting help. And this really changed something for me. And I can clearly remember moments in the hospital where I was sure, where I had an insight that the second life opportunity is about supporting other people and helping them in their lives. And not only people, but also the planet, the universe, if you want to say that. And another moment in the hospital that still blows my mind is the moment when the surgeon came into my room and introduced himself for the first time. And in this moment, my parents were there. And when he walked into the room, they knew each other and they introduced themselves by their first names and said, "Hello, how are you?" And I learned that he is a guy who was an assistant doctor like 20 or 30 years before when my parents were doctors in Zurich. So somehow my parents prepared him to save my life 30 years later. And yeah, for me, that's not a coincidence. And it's still, kind of amazing to wrap my head around this. So this is what happened, and now I want to focus on what I learned from it and what you can learn from it. And I would structure these learnings into learnings of the formless and learning in the world of form. And in the world of formless, I use the two ways that we can describe this experience at the moment, utilizing the phenomena of the out-of-body experience and the near-death experience. Let me start with the out-of-body experience. What I learned from this out-of-body experience is that I, that you, that we are way more than our physical bodies, our physical brains, and that we have access, that we have the ability to tune in into different dimensions that, completely exceed, but also include this reality here that we perceive with the 5 senses that we are aware of until now. And we can be the medium to receive this and to bring it into this world. And some people have this expression for this of being the hollow bone through which, the universal, the energy of these dimensions can flow into this world here, into the world of form. So now let's look on the near-death experience. And what I learned from the NDE, from the near-death experience, is that dying is fine, that dying is okay, that it's not horrible, and that it's not something I need to be afraid of. And that when I look back on my life before, that I was actually afraid of being alive and not of dying. Because I was afraid of change, I was afraid of uncertainty, things I can't control. And I thought this is death, but now I know death is okay. And if I'm afraid of change, if I'm afraid of uncertainty, if I'm afraid of not being okay, I'm actually afraid of life, of living. And what I also learned from this near-death experience is that we can grow from everything, from every suffering, and that life is really not happening against us. It is happening for us, and I would say it's even happening through us. And that life only sends us angels, even when we at a moment and at a certain time can't see what should be good from this experience. And, I consider myself really lucky that in the month before this car accident, I got more and more into meditation. I started to read books from Eckhart Tolle, from Osho, and already had this idea in my head that life is happening for me. And I think because of that, I never had this thought in my head of why me? Why did this happen to me? And I always saw it in a light of it's happening for me and I can learn from this. And if I'm really honest, I had a few moments before the car accident where I was really unhappy with what I'm doing in my life, with not following my dreams, and I was wishing for something that wakes me up. And the way I see it, that is that I manifested this car accident, and that the thoughts that I was thinking and holding on to created this car accident. And that is for me a really, really strong reminder to observe my thoughts and to see what's happening in here, and to work on myself to be a positive thinker, and to not judge myself or be ashamed of or even feeling guilt when I have bad thoughts or low vibrating thoughts. Because if I just accept it, that it sometimes happens, they go away really quickly. And I'm not holding on to grudges, not feeling resentful, and not feeling envious. And these were all things that I did a lot before the car accident. So what I really know now from my own experience is how resilient we are and how capable of healing my body, our bodies are. And that, as my mentor, Dr. Bill Pettit, puts it, that we are never broken, and that there is nothing lacking. We are never broken. We can always, in my opinion, fully heal from everything. And none of us has a lack of internal resources to heal and to have a happy and a content and joyful life, no matter what happened to us in the past. And through talking about healing, which also, of course, happens on a physical level, I already made the transition from the learnings of the formless to the learnings about the world of form. And one of the biggest shifts for me after the car accident was that I just realized that I almost could have been dead, and that I could have been on the point where I always was wishing for something, where I was this kind of wanna be something, wanna do something, but where I've never done it and where I never became it. I really went on a journey of reflection that has never ended since then to get clarity about what I want for my life, or what I want to experience, how I want to grow, and, as I told you, also how I can give back, how I can contribute. It was not an easy process. It involved questioning everything, basically, questioning my upbringing, my education, what my parents told me, what my friends told me, what society told me, and shedding myself from all this false beliefs and false information, and keeping the things that felt right for me and that helped me in my life, and letting go of everything else. And I feel like that I have made a huge development in this area, and I also feel that I'm going deeper and deeper into this every day, and that I'm seeing things in a new light every day, and really make decisions based on what my intuition tells me and what feels right for me. And sometimes it also happens that I look back on something and realize, well, here I kind of didn't follow my values, or here I actually knew that I should have or could have behaved differently. And one thing that I again learned from Bill Pettit is to be grateful for our highs and graceful with our lows. And that, to err is human. And that it's okay. And that we can trust on that when we look back, the dots will align, which is a very famous quote from Steve Jobs. Yeah. If I can inspire you to do one thing, then it is to do the first step or another step towards what feels right to you, towards what you really want to do, what you really want to bring to this life, to this planet, and what you really want to share with others. I think that's the most important thing that we can do in this life. To reflect on who we really are, and then to bring to the world what wants to come through us. And this can also change. The one thing that I wanted to do for my whole life and that I didn't do before was music. And back then, at this moment, when I was 22, music in the form of DJing and producing music. And this is also why I moved to Berlin after my studies. And my plan was to become a full-time music producer, full-time DJ. But life or the universe had different plans for me. And on this journey, I learned that supporting others in one-on-one settings or in groups, through talking, through hypnosis, through meditation, and so on, is even more fulfilling for me than playing records for big amount of people. I still love it, but I also know what my priorities are nowadays. And it was also a process to accept that, to surrender to it, and to be really grateful that something came into my life that I could not even see when I started to follow my passions and my purpose. And I'm really grateful for all of this today, and that I have been finding ways, or even better said, that ways came to me how I can fulfill this vision, this insight I had in the intensive care unit in the hospital of using this second life opportunity to make a positive impact for other people and for the planet. And if you feel inspired to do this, and if you feel that you want to talk about it with me and maybe even get support by me, then hit me up and you will find ways to reach out to me through direct messaging, through email, through a form on my website. And I'm really looking forward to talk about this with you, to explore it with you, and to define what the next step is for you.